What if I told you that in 2026, the investors who lose money won't lose it because they couldn't find deals? They'll lose it because they trusted AI too much. Now, AI can analyze a property in seconds. It can pull rent comps instantly, and it can build a pro forma faster than you can open Excel. But AI cannot tell you what actually rented last week. It cannot tell you which property managers are overwhelmed, and it cannot tell you which deals quietly traded before they ever hit Zillow. And that's exactly what we are talking about today. Because AI is about to make everyone faster, but it's not going to make everyone better. Now, before we jump in, I want to give you a quick invite that connects directly to this conversation. If you've ever felt stuck scrolling Zillow, wondering if you're even looking in the right markets, or unsure whether the numbers you're seeing are real or just projections, I host a couple of free strategy sessions each week where I break down how serious investors are actually getting access to off market deals. Not just any random listings, we're talking about real inventory and real rents. We're going to walk through how properties are vetted, how property management is in place from day one, and how investors are moving from analysis mode to ownership. So it's really a behind the scenes look at what we are looking at live and how it looks when we include people, not just software. So if that would help you, go to the show notes and grab a spot. So let's get into it. You're listening to Passively Rich with Rentals, the podcast for busy professionals who want to build wealth through rental properties without it turning into a second job. I'm Melissa Nash, and I built a multi-million-dollar rental portfolio starting in my 40s while raising four kids, without flipping houses, without flying to properties, or managing tenants myself. And today we are talking about AI, where investors are going to get this very, very wrong. So, what AI is doing right now is it's going to change, well, it is changing the industry right now. So, first of all, deal analysis is pretty instant and market comparisons are pretty easy. We've got forecasting tools that are basically everywhere, and that's really helpful. I use AI all the time, and it actually saves me a ton of time. But here's the thing that nobody's talking about. Now, when everyone has the same calculator, the calculator stops being the edge. In 2026, this year, the math will not differentiate investors, access will, relationships will, execution will. So, for example, I have a client, very smart guy, financial background. He can run beautiful spreadsheets. And he bought a property in a market that I hadn't vetted yet. So, everything modeled perfectly. Let's just say, I think it was like an 8% cash on cash return, strong rental comp, strong neighborhood. But what the property, or rather, what the spreadsheet didn't show is the property manager he hired was juggling over 400 units with a two-person team. Maintenance tickets were unanswered for weeks, and his first tenant left after 6 months. So he ended up having 3 months of vacancy before I ever even heard from him. So the math was right, the people were wrong. Now, yes, you can go ahead and absolutely build all of this yourself. You can source your own deals, you can manage your own rehabs, and you can build your own contractor relationships, hire property managers. Plenty of investors do this, and I've done this in the past as well. But understand what this really means. It means time, trial and error, bumps and bruises that you pay for in cash flow or stress. Or you can compress that timeline. Now, I am very, very bullish on turnkey investing when it is done correctly, because when it's structured the right way, and by the way, the system that I've created, it's not just a renovated property. We've got three parts working together. This is what I call the three P's. We've got the property, the people, and the process. Okay. So the property has to make sense, right? We're talking about a newly renovated property in a good market, landlord friendly, preferably. The people have to be competent. We're talking about the team that did the renovation, the local property management company, the lender, title, escrow. You have to have people that actually know what they're doing. And then the process has to be repeatable. So, what is that system and what are those steps and how do you create all that? So, most investors only evaluate the first one, the property, the market. And that's where AI stops. Okay. So, let's talk about rental comps for an example. Now, you're scrolling Zillow, fine. AI is scraping Zillow, fine. That is just a starting point. Okay. It's not the answer. The real number is what actually leased. Did that rental comp that was $1,350 a month, did it close at 300 or 1,350? Did it close less? Did it close higher with free rent thrown in? Did it sit vacant for 45 days? Or was the property even renovated to a high standard? Okay. AI cannot see that. It doesn't know when it's comparing one property that it's pulling rents for 1,300, one property is renting for 1,200. AI doesn't know. It can look up square footage, it can look up bedrooms, but it doesn't really know the standard of renovation. Okay. One house might have a lot more done to it than the other one does. And does that matter to the renter? Yes, it absolutely does. Most likely, the renter is going to want the property with more upgrades because they know there's going to be less maintenance. That's one of the things that we don't think about. Tenants don't want to deal with maintenance issues any more than you do. Okay. So the property manager that is operating in this exact submarket, the one who leased 3 markets on the street last month, they can give you the correct data. They can give you more accurate data than AI can. So I work with a property manager and they always text me when something leases. If it's a client that I'm working with real time and we're getting ready to close or we just closed, they'll always text me and be like, "Hey, this property just rented or whatever." And they give me the whole story, okay? They're not just giving me the number. They'll say something like, "I got 1,300 and I gave them something for free, like a move-in special," or demand was a little bit soft on this area, and so it took a little bit longer, or, "Hey, we rented it 2 weeks after we put it on the market." So, you guys, this is the type of intel that you need to know. This is the type of intel that is going to protect your investment. And no algorithm is going to give you that type of detail or that type of information because it's not public knowledge, right? So AI is pulling public knowledge. So the gap between what AI estimated and then what it actually leased for is where deals are either going to work or they're not. So the best deals are not public. Okay. So again, AI only analyzes what is visible. But all of the properties that I get access to, the strongest and the best properties, they don't go public. These are all off market. These are not listed on the MLS. So they moved through relationships. They went to my investor lists. And when we're talking about the leasing piece of it, a lot of these were even leased before they were even marketed. So a lot of times property managers don't put stuff up on Zillow to lease. Sometimes they have a waiting list. So, another example is a property that I get in, and if I have a client that is looking for that exact same property, I send it to them directly, instantly, before it even hits my own website. So, I'm even talking about AI scraping my own website. Sometimes I don't even put it up there, and I will literally get it to the person who is looking for it. So, somebody scrolling Zillow at 11 p.m. looking for the exact same property in the exact same market never got the property. Okay. So again, this is how AI is going to not benefit you in this model and this system that I have for my clients. So software cannot replace proximity. Okay. The investors with real teams see inventory different than everyone else, not because they're smarter, but because they're inside the system. Now, let's talk about where AI actually helps. I mentioned a couple of things earlier. So, the way that I've used it over the years was mostly when I was doing, I do short term rentals and long term rentals. And sometimes I need a help putting together a budget. So, AI is pretty awesome for that. Now, if you're out there doing your own renovations, I can absolutely see where AI is going to help you do a rehab scope. They're going to give you timelines. I love using AI for market information. Sometimes I'm looking for up to date information and I don't want to go on just Google and look through, 100 different articles. I just want something really quick. Usually AI can get it. Now, it depends on which AI you are using and it depends on what you're putting in to the request. But if you're very specific and you ask it to show you where it got the information from, then it can be really, really valuable. Sometimes AI just makes up stuff, so you have to be really careful with that. There's a term for it. I heard it before, a hallucination. That's what I've heard. People said AI can hallucinate and make up stuff. So if it's giving you like data that you actually want to know, ask where it's getting that data from. So again, the idea of AI is it's scraping a lot of information and condensing it. So using it for these types of things is really awesome. Predictions for this year, because everybody's talking about AI right now and some people are fearful of it and some people love it. And the way that I see it, and truly, again, it goes back to relationships and people and access. So there's two types of investors. Okay. The first investor says, hey, I'm building myself a spreadsheet. This is my criteria that AI gave me. The spreadsheet looks good. Great. Let's go ahead and buy that property. The other investor says, who's managing this property? How long have they been in this market? What was the renovations done on the property? What actually leased this month? What does rental demand look like right now? You guys, these are the important questions to be asking because AI can pull all the data in the world. You can pull all the data in the world. You don't even need AI. You can go spend hours and hours and hours researching. You can find the absolute best market. You think you found the best neighborhood. You think you found the best property. But guess what? Who's managing it? And how competent are they? That is going to affect your bottom line far more than anything else. Well, I'm not going to say anything else because the renovation is really important as well. And we have to have high rental demand. That a good property manager can make or break your investment. So AI is going to make everyone faster, but it's not going to make everyone really disciplined or have access to the people who have the correct, actual, real information, real data, and real access. Now, AI is not going to replace relationships and it's not going to give you access to properties that are off market. Okay. So the investors who win won't just have better data, they're going to have better positioning. Now, if you're the kind of investor who wants to build everything from scratch, go for it. You can do that. You can do it all on your own. But if you're a busy working professional who values time and wants fewer expensive lessons and would rather step into a system where operators and management and the processes are already built, that is exactly what I help my investors do every single day. So head on over to Passively Rich with Rentals. I'm going to say that again, passivelyrichwithrentals.com, and you can watch me break down a real rental property. We're talking about $135,000 rental. I believe that one is in Ohio. You're going to see exactly how my spreadsheet works, and you're going to see why the spreadsheet is never the whole story. The numbers can be built by AI, but the relationships can't, and access can't, and the process can't. Technology will continue to get better, but wealth in real estate is always going to come down to the people. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.